My name is Jeff Vincent. I'm the Inside Sales Manager here at ACDI, and I'm joined by Kevin Simon, who is one of our pre-sale solutions architects, and he's actually going to lead us through a job ticketing demo today. You can see that he's already sharing his screen. I am recording it, so we will be able to send you the recording after the call as well for the folks that weren't able to join. You had also mentioned in your email taking a look at or discussing some payment gateways. I did want to just see if you had any in use currently, if you were maybe using a PayPal or an authorized.net or maybe a Blackboard or Seaboard, OneCard in the school already.
We don't have a one payment type system. We have a credit card device through USA Technologies /Cantaloupe. That's it's an external credit card device that they use their badge just to connect with, and it adds funds to their account. But we don't have a student financial system that they're tied into.
Got it. And so PaperCut allows for, and services through ACDI, provide for the ability to add payment gateways to your system. We also have pay stations that we sell that could utilize that same USA Technologies /Cantaloupe account to allow students to add funds to their PaperCut account to pay for prints, copies, scans, faxing through that existing system that you have. And so Kevin, we can certainly talk about a lot of those as we go through it, but let's go ahead and start with the job ticketing. So without further ado, I give you Kevin Simon.
Good afternoon. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes,
thanks.
Indeed.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, so I'm not sure, did you guys ever get to see what PaperCut print management looks like? Job ticketing is a component of that, and that's what I have the dashboard open. So the dashboard's just kind of telling you about your print environment in your organization, what the status and real-time activity, environmental impact, its uptime, those kind of things. It's your dashboard telling you all things. One of those things are job ticketing submissions, right? So if somebody tries to print to a printer, we can set up a script on it and says, hey, you printed 5,000 pages to this color printer. Let's send them a pop-up saying, hey, you need to really send your print jobs to the print shop and submit your jobs that way and upload your file. So we can set up this is one of our printers here, and you can set up the script. And so, but I think today you guys were more interested in, as I'm looking through my notes, job ticketing more to track 3D printing. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I was kind of going down the wrong path. So basically, job ticketing is for pretty much any product that you have as an offering, and of course, print shop is one of them, right? And so if we just jump back down here to options and go to job ticketing, we can show you a little bit of what that looks like. Job ticketing service, let's manage the room. You can have multiple locations. You would require a license for, if you had 10 different 3D printing places, each one wanted to have its own site, then you could have 10 of them. Otherwise, you could have just one room and have, a choice to print to all three of those printers in 3 rooms or 1 room. Doesn't really matter. So this is what you're looking at here is an operator view, and this is the Kanban view, and this is your list view. And up here is what you're going to see is the customer view. So when they log in and they have a user account with PaperCut, we can synchronize with Active Directory. When we install PaperCut MF, it will synchronize with your Active Directory, or what are you guys typically using there for your user accounts?
Right now, it's users are mostly imported through sort of a bulk import from a CSV or other kind of export file from Active Directory and other databases.
Gotcha. Yeah, so we can synchronize directly with it, and we wouldn't need to run an import. You can create Separate accounts within PaperCut manually, and where we manage the password. So as long as you have an account in PaperCut, that user can log in, and this is somewhat the landing page that they would see. So I just added these this morning, and that's why they say draft. I didn't change that they were published, but these are for like a print shop, right? But here's one for laser cutting. We have a template set up for CNC milling as well, and here's one for 3D print. So you can customize whatever you call your print shop. That you can have announcements set up that shows, saying when you're closed, and you might be delayed or whatever. Just announcements that you need, and they're very easy to post. You can see your previous orders over here down the list. So, and then if you're curious about the product, you just kind of hover over it and drop a list down. It tells you more about it. So you guys might have higher end sophisticated 3D printers now that can do, carbon fiber banding or whatever. So, there's many different 3D printers with different technologies, right? And so you would just kind of fill that information about the material and set up fees, pricing. You can set the spreadsheet up just like you want. It can be more columns, less columns. What we call is markdown. It's kind of like HTML. And so you kind of customize what you want to say in a file. So anything you want to describe about your printers, the type of material that can come up from them, any pricing could be here. So then once you start your order, the end user would actually, look for a file. Like they might have an STL file that they want to browse to. Let me go to the downloads here. Let's grab Yoda. All right, and we can type in Yoda. So there's your title. Well, we'll just do one prototype today. So here's where we load up in the template your materials, and then once you click on it, you get more expansion. So if I want PLA, which is like a vegetable-based product, then you can choose different colors that you're offering. So let's do green for Yoda. That's appropriate. And then, so down here, you're looking at your print mode. Your slicer offers how you feel like the 3D printing, right? So sometimes people want to say honeycomb or an X pattern or minimum fill or whatever. Those are choices within the slicer. And so you can pick this, and based on this rough quality here, you can pick that in your slicer and match that. So any questions so far?
Is it possible to have additional categories, like say if we wanted to let people pick like the fill amount and then also the fill pattern separately, something like that?
Yes, yeah, you could do that too. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah, you can put values in, drop downs, and you got it. So
Cool.
here's like material. I'm estimating how much is it going to weigh, and well, that's important if it's expensive product, right? If it's expensive material. And then when you run the file through the slicer and get the size, it may be off. So this is an estimate from the person submitting the job. The operator might have to get this information back to that user before they commence printing and adjust that. So here's I'll say, hey, I'm operator 1 handling this job difficulty. There you go. You can say 1 hour for Yoda's head, right? Machine. So here's where you can kind of pick different types of printers, or what you want to call them. This one's called the Rex and the Arts, Slicer, RoboCop. So you're just saying, hey, which machine are you sending this to? What was it designed for specifically? And the students would know that, right? So they're going to choose the one that they feel is appropriate. And then also you can charge back, like where it says personal account, we can change that where you click on it and charge it to another account. Could be a grant or program that you guys are running. And instead of charging to their personal account, it would be charged to that. But for the most part, you're going to be charging for the price for that person to print that job, right? And so here's your delivery options. You can customize this. This is from a markdown file as well. Pickup, internal mail, courier delivery. You can set up your fees. You've got a due date, so we can choose like the 12th. So I can spell finished. There we go. So I'm an end user, kind of sending a question to the operator, right? And later on, earlier on, I don't know why I filled that out. The operator's probably going to fill this field out. Like, this person doesn't know who's going to take the order and process it, right? And so can this be finished by Friday? And send it away. So that's kind of like the end user view. So you kind of get the idea on the projects and the products here. Business cards, completely different layout for the job ticket. Laser cutting, you can kind of see copies, what kind of material you're going to cut with the laser. Pick up, not too much, just a little bit different. 3D printers are more involved. The CNC machine would be pretty much the same. So this very simplified product page, landing page for an end user, and the job ticketing is very user friendly to fill out the forms. So now we kind of want to see what the operator view would see, right? So you could see a list view, see the operator view for the Kanban view. The due date is up here in the top, so it kind of gets posted in the top corner for the oldest ones. This one says Yoda. It was job number 2. Here's the user that submitted it. So the operator is going to kind of open it up and look at the ticket. He's going to see, well, when it was submitted, I can download the file and I can start putting it in the slicer and setting it up. I can look at who submitted it. It's a 3D print, November. It's PLA green, so I've got to go get that product, load it up in the spooler. Minimum fill on the slicer. It's going to just be enough to show it. It doesn't need to be integral, have any integrity for, strength or anything like that, right? So, and then I'm guessing 50 grams. So here I can edit this. Edit the order. I can come over here and I can put my, I'm operator 1 here. Where's my drop down list? And then I would change the difficulty. This might be 2 to 4 hours. And what they're asking for really should be sent to the recs, because maybe the operator knows better for that type of file, right? And sees that somebody's going to pick it up. And the due date's November 12th, and we've got a little message. So I'm going to save my update, but I'm going to reply to their message. So I go to customer reply. And I said, yes, it will. Throw a little smiley face on there. Don't forget. And then internal notes, you may want to talk to other operators with internal notes as well, back and forth, like this customer, I'm leaving, can you finish that job for me, blah, blah, blah. So we also have costing scripts that have estimated cost in here. So you guys can turn this off or on. It may be, close to estimate accurate with the information that we build. It may be way far off. So if you don't use the costing estimate window, the job ticket will just be larger. This just wouldn't be here. So it's customizable. So basically now I'm starting the order. I've got the STL file loaded up in the slicer. I've configured it. I'm going to submit it to the printer, or I'm going to ask a question to the to the end user. So let's close that order. And I could put it here and, be asking them a question and let it sit there until the end user gets back to me. Like we don't have that color. We're out. We need, would you take Yoda in red or something? And then ready to print. So the operator's dragging it over to ready to print. They can do price adjustments, reasons for the adjustment. And if this user, Kevin Simon, in the system of PaperCut has $5, then you can charge their account. As it's printing, the 2 to 4 hours, maybe you got a camera set up on it or something, the students are watching it. So you can drag it over here for ready for delivery. Well, each time I move this from like here to these two, you get an email, and then you'll get an email when it's in the ready for delivery and completed. So you can adjust, what notifications the end user sees. So that information, when I was typing to the end user, they get that information in an email. So now once they pick it up, the operator just drags that order over here. It's completed, or if they never picked it up or whatever, they can drag it to the canceled. And here's your setup as the operator. So here's where you set up your room details. You just modify this file and refresh it, and it will publish it. Workflow, you can add a little bit more workflows. You could probably put a manager's, like let's say you wanted another column in here for management approval or teacher approval or something like that, right? And then you've got delivery options, like I mentioned. Your announcements are up here. This is where you type in your announcements and post it. You can create an order for somebody who walks in. So here's the file on my jump drive. You can actually create the new order for them right when they walk in. Click on 3D print, start it over, so they don't have to submit it. These are your products. You get a lot of templates, so I can add more. So these are the ones that are built into PaperCut. So you pick which ones you want, and then we can modify those. We can modify the job ticket for you, or if you guys know a little bit about JavaScript, you guys can modify it yourselves. So, based on those templates, you can pretty much build any kind of template. So if I'm in here in 3D and I look at the template, here is the markdown language at the top about your document or about your product. Plastic, remember that cost $4.75, 20 cents. So you got little pipes creating that little spreadsheet. So that's what Markdown does. So you can modify it just like you like it, add what you want. And then here's the JSON scripting. I changed it to publish. That's why you don't see the draft symbol on there. So come down through here and look at the attributes of each of the products, the functions within it. So I want to add a new printer. I would come down here and just add another one. So you can modify them fairly easy. But then once you modify this, you also have to be aware that you've got cost scripts with them. So if you have a cost script, you have to just kind of, make sure that they coincide. Here's the one for 3D printing. And like I said, you don't have to have a cost script or cost estimate area if you don't want one, but here it is. So we kind of customize this to get it to work how you guys like it, right? In the background, you guys can modify it if you need to, maybe pricing. We can show you just where to change the pricing. That might work. And here's your email notifications. So anytime an order is submitted, it gets sent. As long as these are turned on, in progress, order completed, and on any new comments back and forth, it will send an email. So that's behind the scenes, behind the curtain. That's how the sausage is made. And, so from an end user, very user-friendly. From the operator view, very user-friendly. So it's just all about, setting up your slicer and everything. It's not going to send a make-ready slicer file for you, right? It's just, you submit the actual 3D print file to the operator, and then they set it up. Hopefully that makes sense. Maybe not everybody's a 3D nerd.
So I actually had a couple of quick questions. So first, so on that, like on the order form, basically for the 3D print jobs, there's that operator only section. So is that something that was showing up because you have an operator account, or is that something that every user is going to see? Like that special information section that's listed as operator only. Like, is that just because you're on an operator account and that's why you're seeing that, or like is it possible to have fields that the end user doesn't see but that are part of a template?
Yeah, absolutely. These are all customizable. This can be in there or not, but I'm also the administrator, so I have full rights to see everything. So it's going to show up here. The end user won't, they don't have to see anything you don't want them to see. Okay,
yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at. So like someone who wasn't on an operator account wouldn't see that field, like, or that set of fields, like that would just kind of be behind the scenes.
That's what I understand. Yes.
Okay, cool. The other question I had related to that is, so when a ticket is edited, not necessarily when it changes status, but if we go in and like change, the printer it's assigned to or the cost or whatever, like we did earlier, does the user get notified on those kind of changes to the ticket?
Yes. Yeah. Any modifications to that, they will also get. Absolutely. Yeah. Especially when it's this one, ready for print, ready to print. They get an email. Yep.
Right.
With the information that's on, with any information that's on the page. So if you actually look at your previous orders, I guess too, everything would show up here in this list as well.
Right. Yeah. So I saw that like there are different like notification templates for like status changes and things. But so I guess what I was getting at is for the other changes as well. Like say if I adjust the price, so I'm not moving it from new to pending yet or whatever. I'm like just changing the printer that it's assigned to or the material estimate or something like that. If I make those kind of changes as an operator in the edit view, is there a notification to the user on that?
Yeah, where you're communicating with the customer at the very bottom, that's when you type in that you've adjusted the cost, if there was a cost adjustment. Otherwise, they already knew kind of what the cost was, like it was $5, and it charged me. But if you're adjusting it or doing anything, that's where you would type that information in at the bottom, and you would hit post. Well, they're going to get an email on that information.
Okay.
Any changes that you've made. Yep.
Okay, cool.
And as well as, you don't have to drag them across the Kanban either. You can just drop this list down and change the status as well.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah.
And kind of related to that, so is it possible to add additional templates for notifications?
For different notifications, I don't know. That's pretty much it. Those five. You get the 5 notifications when it's been submitted, in progress, completed. But anytime you send a new comment to the end user, they get whatever you type in an email to them.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it seems like those pretty much are going to cover most bases. I was just curious about that.
No, it's a good question. I've never had that question before. I thought I've seen everything, but that's a good question I can ask. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Thank you.
Absolutely. Customer view, operator view. I think continue on, my friend. Any other questions?
I think that's all I've got for right now. Anyone else?
I'm good.
Perfect. So
Yeah.
and so let's kind of shift our discussion and talk about some different payment gateway options.
Right.
Kevin, if you want to keep driving, man, you can kind of navigate through some of that as well.
Sure.
But first, I think maybe we can identify which method of payment gateway would be most advantageous to the school. So you have an existing system where you're using USA Technologies, now Cantaloupe, to process payments for several other things on campus. We have an RSX 1000 pay station that can be placed in the library for students to walk up and use their credit card or debit card, Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, however they want to do that, to add funds to their PaperCut account for prints, copies, even scans or faxes, if you wanted to charge for that functionality. That's certainly one way to do it. And Kevin can show you what that device looks like.
Yep, this is one of them. We also have one with a display on the top where you can log into your account and then you can add monies through a credit card that way, which would be like an online payment add to your PaperCut account through like PayPal. And then also here's your coin bill, and I don't know what else would you.
Yeah, and so these come in
coins.
Yeah, so these come in several configurations. They can be configured to accept coins and bills, and coins, bills, and credit cards. And so the RSX 1000 is this same device with whatever configuration of monies you want to use, and looks just like this. And so this is a touchscreen interface that allows students to walk up, log into their account, and add funds via whatever payment options you have here: coins, bills, credit cards, Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, etc. And then any questions about that way?
No, that looks similar to what we're doing. And one of the considerations that we have is it'd be nice, not to have the extra credit card device, but because we have some of our staff who aren't sophisticated technology-wise, that need to print, they may not have something like PayPal, or our security team may not let us do something like PayPal. So that's why we're just in the discovery phase with those payment options right now.
100%. And so you also can allot quotas within PaperCut to allow free printing or even an overdraft allotment of folks' accounts. And so Kevin can show you how we go about setting quotas. We can do that by individual user. We can do that by groups of user. So if there are staff or administrators, you just want to set a limit to how much they can print for free, by all means, set them a quota and maybe allow for a few dollars worth of overdraft. You can set that quota for weekly, daily, monthly, or a custom time frame that is by semester or by year, however you want to set that up.
Right now, we do it, we add $25 to existing students at the beginning of each semester. So we do it in let's see, what is it? January, May, and August, I believe. And then when new students get added to the system, they automatically get $25, because we have students get added all the time. It's not, say, August 25th, all new students start. They really kind of start throughout the year.
Absolutely. And then as they get added that $25, is it like a use it or lose it, or does it accrue over the time that they're there?
It accrues.
Okay. So what's nice about PaperCut is that you can, if they don't use it, you can set it to only allow accumulation up to a certain dollar amount, which is right on the screen there that Kevin is showing you. And so if you set them $25 a year, but they're there for 4 years, that maybe you don't want them to then have $100 worth of printing at the end of 4 years. If you just want to set the limit of it'll accumulate up to $25 or to $50, you're easily able to set that threshold of what it'll accumulate up to. So with those quotas, you're also going to configure them for your user groups. And so all the new users that are onboarded will automatically get those preset quotas that we've set up for them.
Yeah, that's
And
perfect. And then you can have initial credit, you know, so how they get it when they first have an account, and then from then on, right? Yep, you got it.
And then we also have
and
there's also several other payment gateway options that we have. There are lots of online payment systems like through PayPal, Authorize.net. There is a litany of that he's showing you on the list here of ones that we can integrate with to allow users to log into their PaperCut accounts on their own workstations, wherever they are, on campus, off campus. Parents can do it for students and add funds for printing, for copying, scanning, faxing, etc., through that online payment gateway. That allows them to just log in with their account into their PaperCut dashboard, add funds under the tab that's on the left, very similar to what you see on the regular PaperCut dashboard where all the options are on the left there. You'll see an add funds on your user tab, and they'll be able to click add funds, choose the allotted amount, and add the funds to their PaperCut account to use there. They'll be notified every time they send a print job or log into a device to make a copy of what their available credit is and how much they have left.
Yeah, and this is what it would look like. Yeah, you know, their card would come up when they're adding money, and then it would have a connection to the payment gateway, and then they would put the amount in.
And I assume it's easy to refund somebody money if the printer goes awry and doesn't print their print job properly. It's easy enough for an admin person to refund money.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so
just a couple clicks. And sorry, Kevin, go ahead and show them that.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, you can talk while I bring it back up. There we go. Let's look at the logs. So if the job gets printed and they want a refund because it just doesn't come out, it didn't produce or something, they can see this job. The operator you can log into your own user account from PaperCut. This is the administrator view. But when I log into my own personal account, I would actually see my job print history, and I could see this in the log, and I could click on refund. And then the operator will see this information, and they can grant that refund and make adjustments.
Easy.
Yeah, very easy.
Yeah, and then your users can request refunds too. And so even if they want to do that before they even get up to the desk, they could request a refund from their own user account and then just walk up to the desk for approval.
Sounds good. Thank you.
I think one thing I didn't show you is the export of all the data that, you know, job ticketing shows you. So we're accumulating every attribute for each type of template or product, and who the user was. Everything you saw in the job ticket we capture in the database. And once we're done, I can just go into a list view as the operator, and I can filter. I could search for jobs. I could pick by date. I could say, well, just show me all the jobs that are completed for that month, and then choose the date range. And once they, for that month, let's say you're going to bill, you can export, and you'll get a CSV file that you can, manipulate with Excel with like macros or manually, whatever, or take that data out. Every attribute is within there. So if I just save that as orders CSV2, and then we kind of open this up with, let's say Notepad++. I don't have Excel on this one. So let's see. So you get the idea. so if you look at the column header, those are all the attributes of the order, every one of them, and then all the data underneath them matching that column. So who the user was, Kevin, blah, blah. So if you open this in Excel spreadsheet, it's much easier to view, but all your comments that I typed in there are also in there. Can this be finished by Friday? So all that CSV contains every transaction of information. So you guys can use that accordingly. You could use a macro and then export that data into a billing system if you have one. However we're going to go about it. Maybe we're just going to email them. I don't know. Or you're charging the students in the rears, or just make sure that they have the money up front to perform the job, or both.
They usually have more money in their account than they need typically. If they go up to release a print job and they notice it displays that their funds are low, they'll typically go to the credit card device or go to one of the staff members and get get funds added in whatever way they need to.
Sure.
There are times where, trying to think of an example where we've had a student, question something about a payment on a print job. It doesn't happen very often. It's like once every few years, and it's nice to be able to, pull out the details of all of that user's transactions to see exactly, when he printed and what he exactly what he did. And
here's what I'm just clicking on that user account, which would be me, and I can have my own job log, not mixed in with everybody else's job log. So, and we can see what was done when, right? And transaction history, any information that was used. Here's job ticketing, 3D print to Kevin Simon.
We might look at something
November
like
9th.
we might look at something like how much money they've personally added to their account versus how much the library has given them as a quota.
Right.
Just kind of.
And we can give you some reports by choosing PDF, HTML, or a CSV. But I can also go in and make adjustments like to that transaction as well. And then let's say I walk in, you start with a box full of money, cash behind the drawer in the print shop, and say, hey, here's $10. Can I, get my file printed and upload a job? Well, then you could just go to that user, and the operator could just, add money to that person's account. So here's their balance. They're negative, so we can just click adjust, type it in.
Nice.
Yeah, add the $10, and so you wouldn't even need a payment gateway. That's just like a point of sale, cash, hand over cash, right?
Yeah, we and sometimes we'll do that just if, say, a family member has come to the hospital and they just want to print off a couple of pages for a document, and we might give them a little bit of money to print with.
Yeah, absolutely. So as long as you're in PaperCut, the operator can pretty much adjust anything the end user does. The end user can submit. They can add money themselves with online payment, or those those coin machines. So it's kind of set up for college because PaperCut grew out of higher education, right? So if you can think it in higher education, what the students are doing, teachers, faculty, staff, they're all accommodated within the PaperCut software.
It just while I'm kind of thinking about the reports that they've asked for in the past, and I'm sure you already do this, but just thinking out loud. So for instance, they may say, we want to see, we had 3 floors, we'll have 2 floors, and they want to see, which printers are getting the most usage and what time of day is the heaviest usage. That kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we've got 85 built-in reports, user reports. The executive summary is going to show you exactly what you were asking for. It's going to show you the highest number of the printers with the largest print jobs on them within a time frame. You're going to see the students who print the most within a time frame. You'll see, you know, who prints duplex versus simplex. You know, the percentage of color to black and white, duplex to simplex, things like that, and pages per day, right? So here, you just click on sample, and it's showing you all this. I can just blow it up a little bit, but here's the top printers and with all their pages and totals within that time frame, and the top users. So you can send that to anybody you want as an email report, monthly, quarterly, whatever, just to get an idea of what's going on with those devices. And, you know, so that's just one report. Let me minimize that there. And then you've got environmental reports. If you're billing back to special accounts or like grants or something like that, you can assign the cost to that and get reports from that. Group reports, you can narrow down reports based on printer groups, like you give a printer a group name, and it's like in the lab. So if I see 10 printers over here, and I go, and once they list, and I click on each 10, and I can say, hey, you're part of the lab number 1 or whatever. And so I can group them. So then I can come along and get a report based on that group that I've assigned it to as well. You can do ad hoc. You can pick your date ranges. If you do ad hoc and you choose this, then you can pick your date ranges. You can print your group name, you know, which group do I want, or all of them. These attributes are selectable now. Which department, what office, shared account name, which is your billing account, what devices, all the devices, right here, or some of the printers. So you get to select how you're going to build that report ad hoc, and then you also have the PDF just for the executive summary only comes in a PDF. So, but any of these others will come as an HTML or a CSV or a PDF. So with ad hoc.
Okay.
So you can kind of build them just like you like it, and then we do customized reports as well. So, and if you need to tie into a billing system, we have data integration. So it's very well thought out.
And when you say you do customized reports, what does that mean? Does that mean that we request something from y'all, or we have the option of?
Well, yeah, you can do two things. You can actually, you know, put Microsoft SQL as your back end of the database of PaperCut. And then you guys can use your own reporting tools like Crystal Reports or Microsoft SQL tools, right, to generate your own. Or if you choose custom, we have a software called JasperSoft Studio. And so then you would, rather than learning it, which is a pain in the butt, you could just ask us what kind of report you guys want, and we'll build it for you, and it'll show up under custom reports. If the 85 built-in reports don't do exactly what you want, then you have this as an option, or Microsoft SQL backend.
That sounds good.
Are there any report templates related to the job ticketing module?
I don't think they've added any. It's just based on that export I showed you with the CSV, as far as I know.
Okay.
Yeah, but let's look. I don't know if they've added. You would think it would say job ticketing up here, printer by user. You know, this is a brand new software. It's 21.1.2, so I just updated it yesterday, and they always add new things and features in there. So I haven't had a chance to look at everything. Logs. So yeah, so far as I know, here's copy, fax, scan, breakdown. You would see like copy, scan, fax, and then maybe job ticketing would have been added to it. Yeah. So I'm still guessing, you know, job ticketing still just has that export when you sort your list for that month and you export jobs that have been completed, that's your CSV file. That's your report.
Okay. And those transactions through job ticketing, do those show up in the user's transaction history like other transactions do? Oh, yeah. Sorry, no. Yeah. I think we did see it. Yeah.
Yep. The user can log in and actually see when they log in. So basically, I can show you what that looks like a little bit. I didn't modify it for Payment Gateway yet, but let's just log out. And instead of me being an admin, I'll be a user, right? So I'll log in as a user, and this would be the landing page for a user. This can be modified a little bit depending on what we're doing, but this is showing me my balance, my print jobs pages, environmental impact, and here's the transaction history. I've showed you from an admin side, but this is the user side. So, yeah. So you see here's a couple with job ticketing, and that was for today, right?
Okay, so I guess at least on the transaction reports, it'll show up there.
Yeah, and it looks like I'm out of money, dude. I need to add some money because I'm in the negative, right? So I better get my Payment Gateway. Yeah, so, the students probably just want to add money that way, or the parents, be easy. But, those payment stations are really nice where you can just put a credit card in or coins and add money to your account as you go as well. Jeff, you speak to a lot of the libraries and colleges and stuff like that. Is there any particular workflow that they prefer in like a library versus a lab, or like this might even be considered a lab, 3D printing lab, if you will, right?
So
yeah,
typically, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, it's a bit of both. I mean, we have a computer lab, and then also we have this 3D printing service that's available kind of alongside it.
Yeah. And so what's really nice about PaperCut is that it's scalable. It's also adjustable, and you can run multiple payment gateways if needed. And so like if you get started with one way, and we use the USA Technologies Cantaloupe account with the payment station, and it becomes advantageous for enough of your users that we want to say, hey, let's add a payment gateway here too, then we can do that. You can run both. And so PaperCut is absolutely scalable to whatever it needs to be. If you have another print room and we need to add on another room to that and customize those templates for job ticketing to meet the requirements or the needs of that print room, we can do that as well. And so what's nice about PaperCut is that it's absolutely scalable, and you can have it all, or you can just have what you need.
And this would be the the landing page for the user login. Here's a link for them to get to the Fab Labs, right? So if they click on it, now it's going to show them it'll come up to this view here, customer view, just like that.
Is there any kind of a landing page for the job ticketing prior to a user being logged in? Like, is it possible to have is there any kind of like generic sort of page like this just for again, like, I guess like just prior to login?
There is not. No. Once the user's logged in and they click on that link, this is the customer landing page. Only the operator can actually see this when they log in as themselves. They could actually submit, if they log in and they are assigned as an operator, they could actually submit a job themselves, or they could be the operator. Yeah, but no, it's just this is the only landing page.
But you're also asking if there is a public facing one for folks without PaperCut accounts.
Yes.
I mean, publishable outside of PaperCut.
Yeah, I mean, all you really do is need a link to this landing page from any page that you build, right, for your customers.
Okay, and yeah, I mean, ideally they would just log in, right then. I just wasn't sure, like, if this was something that we could sort of, I guess like sort of point to in a way where we don't know if the user's logged in yet, and have some idea of like what they're going to be seeing. But yeah,
Yeah, typically that would be a function of the school's web developer to just, that main landing page for all your resources. Then you can have a link to this, which is just that link I just clicked on, right? And it's that URL. You got it.
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't, not much customization other than, what you want to name the shop and the announcements. It looks pretty much like that. Very clean.
Okay. Is it possible then to I guess like sort of part of like why I'm asking is is there an easy way to show, like, let's say like on the library website, the kinds of print jobs or kinds of jobs available through this service that are available. Like, is there a way to sort of like pull like that information, like the kinds of jobs available, so we can display them somewhere else so people can see before they log in sort of what their options are?
Yeah, this is more of a graphic here, but you'd probably get a list where we could just take this data here. And here's your products, right? You can just copy these and put them in a spreadsheet or something and build another web page, or right? Something very similar to that.
So I mean, I guess like as far as like we could certainly like export that information and like use that as the basis for something else. So I guess I was wondering more about like, I don't know, like whether there's like any kind of API to view those different types of jobs to display them elsewhere, things like that.
Not that I know of.
Okay.
This is the limit of your templates. If you print on or click on a previous job, it'll bring up the ticket for you. I can't think of, other than this being your offering. I mean, you just have to build your own custom web page to say, these are the products that are offered, and then this is your landing page. So yeah, so that would be more like marketing web pages as an add-on or something like that, right? But and this is designed for affordability. This was really designed for like booklets, business cards, just small print shops within the school originally, where they didn't need all the approval manager or make ready files, printing like that, where the really expensive software is, you're paying $50,000 plus, for those. And, this is designed to be affordable to fill in that gap.
Right.
And then they added the Fab Lab to it for laser cutting and 3D, because you guys are also doing that, and there's got to be a way to track that work, that service to be done. And so job ticketing was born.
This is kind of a tangential sort of question, but just because it came up earlier. So like you mentioned, using SQL for the the database on the back end. Is that like when you set up a new instance of PaperCut server, is that the direction you tend to go with, is using SQL rather than the built-in database in PaperCut?
Well, most colleges we do, because of the number of students and printers, right? So you got governments, colleges, school districts. They have very high number of students and users and printers. So then you follow like a user guide, a database guide that says, hey, when it does so many transactions, so much time, blah, blah, blah. When you hit 5,000 users and 200 printers, then you really need to go, you probably got to think about moving it to a SQL database or Oracle or Postgres, right? And the built-in database is Apache Derby database from IBM. And it's like Microsoft SQL Express, if you will. So it's good for most businesses, but for the larger organizations, we suggest Microsoft SQL anyway. So most colleges we do. So I mean, how many active users would be in your organization, right? Teachers, students doing stuff, and then how many printers. But then if you're just getting this for job ticketing, that kind of changes things, right? So you could go with the internal database if you're just using it for job ticketing. But yeah, if you want to track printing, and manage multifunctional devices like the PaperCut MF does, then you need the SQL database for an organization your size. Anyway.
Right. Yeah, I guess. I guess in terms of number of users, depending on whether we go with all users or just students, that kind of depend. That'll kind of affect sort of whether we hit the cutoff on that reason alone. Number of devices won't be an issue as far as that goes. But I was just kind of curious whether you just kind of went with SQL by default, or whether it was like a size-based determination.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing was self-contained, like it's Java virtual machine. It's got Jetty web server, Apache Derby database. So it's a self-contained executable that we install. It's like 600 megabytes and installs in 15 minutes. We're up and running. Then we install job ticketing within it. And then that's up ready, in an hour. And then if you want to customize the templates, then that takes longer, per template/product is what I mean. But all that, and if you're going to limit the number of users who are going to use the 3D printing to a group of, let's say they're the 3D printer group people, I don't know what you want to call them, but, and we're not importing all those students and the whole campus and faculty in there, then of course the internal Apache Derby database will work fine for you guys. But if you look for those custom reports, you might as well move it over to SQL anyways and use your tools to get custom reports if that's what you guys typically do. But so I would just say start with what's there, and then we can always upgrade to SQL. We can always it's not like that you're stuck once we install it. We can modify it. It's very scalable, just like Jeff said.
Questions? What else can we answer for you?
I think that's all of my questions answered. Anyone else?
That looks good. I think, for us, the complicating part will be dealing with the adding funds for users, the extra funds, if they want to add extra money to their account. What our security team will let us do and what options we have.
Absolutely. And I'll send you over the spec sheets we can send over the stuff about the payment gateways as well as the spec sheets on the RSX 1000 pay station as well. So you guys have those.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah. And also on that note, like any information related to the security aspect of any of this, including like the payment gateways and the like the external payment options for like a web-based payments, that kind of thing, that'd be great.
Yeah, you can Jeff, just send them one of those payment gateway guides like the PayPal one, because all the security within there are very similar, and they can kind of just read what their IT people would have to do to get one in place and all the security that goes with it.
Perfect. I can get those certainly sent over shortly after the call here to you, Dan.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I think that's all my questions. Yeah, if everyone else is good, then I think this has been really informative. Really appreciate it.
Perfect. Well, again, I thank you guys for the time, and I'm going to go ahead and stop recording here. I'll send you this over once I get the recording back, and everyone have a great rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks.
Have a nice week.
You
You
too.
too.
Bye now.